down. That's so cool. Alrighty, everybody. This is my first video. This even came about because sometimes I look online for tutorials just like everybody does, and I happen to know how to do this, so I figured I'd make a video because I don't think the videos out there are very good. There's a bunch of fillers in there, and honestly, I'm one of those guys that just likes to get to the point. So my whole purpose with this today is to try to teach you guys how to buy a car, basically. Okay, so cool. So step number one is I'm going to take it. I have a couple notes here, so I'm just going to kind of freestyle it. So whenever you're buying a car, basically there's too many options. There's too many dealerships. You inquire about one, and then people start blowing you up. So I know it's kind of tough, but nowadays you have the internet. So with the internet, you can find out certain dealerships, find out about the reviews, find out about cars that you're looking for. Me personally, I can tell you my advice all day, but at the end of the day, you're going to choose whatever you want. So, and it's your money, and you're going to buy whatever you want. So basically, I'm just trying to facilitate it for you and show you the questions to ask, what to avoid, where not to go, what cars maybe not to buy, but we'll get to that later. And then I'll just go step by step, and hopefully the video does well. And hopefully people comment on their questions and stuff. I'm going to do my best to reply. And my whole purpose with this is to obviously continue, because it wouldn't be a bad idea me teaching people how to do something I already know how to do, right? And then vice versa, maybe I can learn just like I always do. So anyway, let's get right to it, right? So one of the first steps whenever you're buying a car is to know your budget, okay? So know your budget, have an idea of what you want to pay a month, how much you want to spend. You know better than anybody, right? You know how much you make, you know what your credit is like, take all of those things into account. Keep it simple. My advice, Toyota, Honda, you can't go wrong. Buy one of those and you're gravy. I mean, you're good to go. Pick a car you need. So that's the reason a lot of people, these are wants and needs, right? Nobody needs a luxury car like a Mercedes, Audi, BMW, whatever, right? If you need a car and you're like, oh, I kind of want, no, you figure out your wants and needs, right? You know best, right? We don't have to spell it out. So insurance is another big thing. I live in Texas. Texas is starting to go up in insurance. Everybody's moving down here, so maybe that's a reason. I know there's a lot of wrecks down here too, so luxury cars are going to tend to be more expensive. Same with sporty cars. So my advice is stick domestic, stay to something like Toyota, Honda. All the other cars are good too. I tell people I always tell my clients, if you take care of the car will take care of you, essentially. So down payment, you don't need a down payment if you have good credit. If you have shaky credit, it just depends on debt to income as well. We can always sit down and talk about it later, but I just kind of want to keep it simple for you guys on this first video. And know your down payment if you do need one, right? Because you don't always need one, but it's always good to have it. It lowers your payment. You have a better chance of getting a better rate, etc. Credit, again, we all know if we pay our creditors on time, if we've missed payments on cars, if we have all our credit cards maxed out, those are things that are not going to help your approval whenever you turn this into the bank and say, hey, I want to buy a car, right? If you have a high debt to income, if you have low credit, those are things that are going to make the bank say, hey, give me some money down, please. Otherwise, this is a high risk for me to let you borrow this much money on a car, right? And that's what some people don't understand. That's what some people don't understand is people will, unfortunately, right, because I've been on both sides, people will call in and shop around and say, oh, well, I got approved this, for this amount, this time with this car. Well, yeah, because it was, a different situation. Everything is very different, especially to the banks. If it's an old car with high miles, they're not going to they're less likely to loan you that amount because it's a higher risk, right? God forbid you get in an accident. What kind of money are they going to get back? So those are just little things to take in consideration. That's why sometimes when you have shaky credit, that's why it takes forever sometimes to get you approved, is because they have to shop a couple banks. Sometimes they have to get directly in contact with them just to try to get you approved. So those are things that, I like to try to educate people on. Trade-in. If you have a trade-in, okay, do your research. There's a lot of websites around here. If you're going to get at a dealership close to, let's say, your car is worth $8,000 to $9,000, if the dealership is going to give you anywhere from $75,000 to $8,000, you're winning. Okay, you get tax savings. We can go about that in depth later too, but tax savings basically gives you a little more money. Okay, you get a break on the taxes that you already paid for that car previously. Um, so if there's a trade-in, do your research, find out how much it's worth. If they're gonna back and forth you and lowball you, it's your car. You say, hey, you know what? I don't even want to include it anymore. Leave it alone. They're gonna come back with their aggressive number if they decide to. Okay, so I wouldn't worry too much about the trade-in. Worry more about if knowing the value up front and not saying, oh crap, maybe I should have looked that up before, because those values fluctuate. It depends on trim, it depends on the tires you have on the windshield wipers, the service records. If you're one of those guys or people who hasn't taken your car for it's regular inspection or something, and you haven't taken it consistently, and it's shown that it was like 3 years since you last took it, the value that's more likely to go down, accidents, stuff like that. So with your trade-in, just know the value, have an idea, and if they can get close, great. If not, just remember you're trading it in so that dealership can refurbish it or make it look nice again, and then try to sell it and make money. So also, a good deal is made when both parties are winning. But obviously, you're the client, so we want you to win. Dealership, you got to call in first, man. Please make sure that you call in and you get yourself a salesman. Get a salesman, because then you can make sure that the car's there. It's good to show up, right? First come, first serve. But if you're one of those people who's looking for that gem or looking for that specific car, or you're driving far away, please, I feel so bad when other salespeople will say, hey, no, come on in, and they'll try to do this thing called bait and switch, where they'll switch you to another car. Like, I'm new school, man. I don't do that. I'm just here to help people and try to facilitate the process, because it's just too much. Okay, I've done this for 5 years, and it shouldn't take this long, basically. Okay, and if the customer already has an idea of what they want, then I think that can also help facilitate the whole process. So anyway, if you have your trade-in, you already know what it's worth. It avoids some of the back and forth. With the dealership, call in, make sure you have a salesman. Make sure the car is there. Make sure it's clean. If they can send you a video, great. It just kind of breaks that ice, and it gives you an extra step forward already, right? Because you already made contact with somebody. You already jumped the hoops of, oh, what are you looking for? Do you have a trade-in? Do you those questions have already been asked. So dealerships take forever, and then sometimes it depends on the salesman you have. Sometimes the salesman takes forever. They're slower. They're newer, or maybe they're busy. They have other things going on too, and some guys don't know how to manage their time, or saleswomen too, don't know how to manage their time or how to be efficient, and therefore don't take care of the customer. So anyway, yeah, just you also have the right, again, kind of like your trade-in. If you're not vibing well with this person, or they're not answering your questions, or you're just not feeling it, you have the right to just say, hey, you know what, I'm so sorry. Can I work with somebody else? Okay, it doesn't happen very often, but if someone's making you uncomfortable, you don't like the way they're doing it, hey, you know what, I'm sorry, can I work with somebody else? Or just flat out, hey, you know what, I'm sorry, it's not going to work out, bye. Which brings me to my next one, salesman. Salesman's a big one, okay? I'm just going to wrap it up. If they're slow, if they're taking their time, if they're not being responsive, if it looks like they're too busy, you have the right to just say, hey, you know what, I think, which I've seen it before. I see it every day. You have the right to get up and say, hey, you know what, I'm done. I'm going to keep looking, or hey, you know what, thank you for your time. Let's keep it moving, right? So those are some of the big tips that I have on how to buy a car. I just wanted to keep it super simple, because there's a bunch of videos out here that are like 12 minutes long, 15 minutes long, even longer, and then they're telling you a bunch of other stuff. I sell cars now. I've bought cars. I've bought like 6 cars in the last 5 years. So, and not just from the dealerships that I work at, right? I've bought cars at other places, and I put myself in that position to kind of see what I could help with, right, from the customer perspective. So I hope this one helps. I'm going to continue making them. Hopefully that's the plan, at least. And then if you guys have any questions, comments, please, again, I'm here to help. So I want to do one as well. I want to start doing other videos, but one of the next ones I want to do is one with how to sell the car. So if you're new to the game and you're new to the business, I was a little scaredy cat. I was super, super scared, and I was just I overthought things too much. And I want to help all the other guys who I see starting the business, because I can only help so much, or I can only give one-on-one peer to so many people. And I'm not perfect, right? I'm always learning too. I'm not like a freaking sales guru or anything, but I've learned a lot because I always hung around the veterans, and I always hung around the big people. And I saw a lot of cars at the other dealerships I've been at. I just switched to another one. So I like to stay busy. I like to take care of my customers, and it's a good feeling, right? Especially when people come back and they buy more from you, and then they tell their family members about you. So we'll make more videos about that later. Again, I just wanted to keep this one simple. I hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to post this one to YouTube and then a couple other ones and see how it goes, and hopefully you guys like and subscribe, and we'll go from there. Blessings.